Hello and welcome back. In this video, we will learn how to use the WPDB class to perform custom queries and interact with a custom table in database. Since this is a custom table, we cannot use WP query or other WordPress functions to retrieve, insert, or update data because WordPress does not have any information about the custom table. We will perform CRUD operations, that is create, read, update, and delete using the WPDB class. I have already created the necessary functions for these operations and will execute them individually. Before diving deeper, let's talk about table prefixes. I have used WP products as the table name. When creating a custom database table, always use the WordPress table prefix. This prefix is set in the wp-config.php file via the table prefix global variable. By default, the prefix is WP underscore, but users can customize it during WordPress installation. There are a couple of reasons behind it. For example, using this prefix, WordPress allows the use of a single database for multiple WordPress installations. So let's say on some of the hosting platforms, we only have access to a single database in the plan or something that can be a restriction. Let's say in that case, the user can install multiple WordPress sites. With this prefix, it can differentiate all the tables from the single database. So I can use WP underscore or WP1 underscore, WP2 underscore, which is unique for each site. And WordPress can identify all the required tables or corresponding tables for the site through this prefix. If the plugin developers are not using the prefix and we are just creating a common table without a prefix, and in that case, if the user installed this plugin on all the sites that use only a single database, then in that case, the same table will be used throughout all the sites. It's not just related to one site because it's not differentiated through the prefix. It's common now. Using a prefix is the best practice. So always use this prefix property of the WPDB class and then your table name. So here is the WP products. Now let's see the create product method. As you can see, we have constructed a table WP products and this is the insert method from the WPDB class. If we look at this method, it allows us to insert a row into the custom table we created. Then there are some examples you can check. The first argument of the insert method is the table name, where we want to insert the data. The second argument is the data passed as an array of column value pairs, where the index is the column name and the value is the actual column value. The third argument is the format, which specifies the type of data we are passing. Now we have these arguments. For example, here is an array, name, product 1, description, and price. I have passed the format as well. The format must follow the same sequence as the data. So it starts with the name, ends with the price. For instance, the name is %s, the description is %s, and the price is %if. I keep the price as a float because if you pass it as a percentage, like 50.50, it will consider only 50 and drop the 0.50. The insert method prepares and validates the data internally. It calls the prepare method, generates a SQL query, and executes it. This way, the method ensures that the data format and restrictions are properly followed. If you do not specify a format, the default format will be %s. Internally, the method uses insert replace helper. If you want to use a replace statement instead of insert, you can call the replace helper. This method also calls the prepare and query method to execute the SQL query. Now, if we add the function here and see the output, you can see the output returns 1, meaning the product was successfully inserted. If you go to the database and check this table, you will see that the product has been added. If you see it multiple times, then it's because we directly use this function which may execute multiple times. You may see extra data, but this is just for demo purposes. I also pass null for the price to test the constraint. The price and name columns should not be null. If I execute this again, you will see the error column price cannot be null. This error can be accessed using the last error property of the WPDB class. This property contains the error message from the most recently executed query. If you want to get the insert ID, you can use the insert ID property. This property achieves the ID of the last inserted row. For example, I executed the insert query and grab the insert ID. If you refresh and check, you will see the ID of the last inserted row, that is 4. Now let's fetch the products. There are several ways to perform the read operation using the WPDB class. You can use the get results, get row, and get var methods. To get multiple results, use get results. Pass the select query including the where condition if needed. If the query returns more than one row, get results will return all of them. By default, the result will be in an object format, but you can also retrieve it in an associative array, indexed array, or object using the appropriate constant. If you are expecting only one row, use the getRow method. Even if the query returns multiple rows, getRow will return only the first row. Similarly, the getVar method can be used if you are querying for a single column value, such as the price of a product. So I'm returning this and printing the products and single product price. So if we go here and refresh, it would return all the results, then a single row, then the value of the first price of the product with ID 1. because we have added that one here. The prepare method can be used in these queries to dynamically pass values and specify data format, ensuring proper validations. You can also use the numRows property to get the number of rows written by the most recent query. I'm just commenting out these two functions over here because they will return the number of rows from the last most recent queries which have been executed at the last. So if I refresh here, you can see the 5 values here. So the numRows property of the WPDB class will have the number of rows like from the results from the most recent query. So there are multiple properties there which you can go through from this WPDB class here. And you can find this wpdb.php file under the wp includes folder. I will go through this file as well after some time or in later videos. So now we have already read the products and created the products. Now let's talk about updates. The WPDB class provides the update method. This method takes the table name, the data as an array of column value pairs, the where condition and the formats for both the data and where condition. So here I have simply done the table name, then added it. I am updating the product ID 1, then our data. I am updating the description, its price and adding it here in the data formats. %s for string and %f for float value. And then we have %d for the id, which is the integer. So it will automatically convert the data type and everything. Then you simply output the result. So output, it will result a 1 if only one row is updated. If multiple rows are updated, then that count will be passed. And if there are no updates, then it will simply return the 0. So let me just go here and update it to 40.1. Let me just uncomment this. Now if I update here, you can see the 1, okay? And if I refresh it here again, then now it says 0 because it's not updated. So if I go to the database and then refresh, now it's 40.1 and then updated. So this way you can update the number of rows or the single row depending on the where clause. So here you don't have to construct the queries using this WPDB method to perform the CRUD operations. So WP already provides create, insert and update methods. Lastly, to delete a product, we use the delete method. Pass the table name, the where condition and the format of the condition values. For example, I deleted the row where the ID was 1. This method returned 1 indicating that the record was successfully deleted. If the row does not exist, the method will return 0. Let's check in the database. If I refresh here, you will see the product with the first ID is gone. This way, you can perform CRUD operations using the WPDB class. It is much cleaner and safer than manually constructing SQL queries. The WP class handles escaping, validations, and query executions, ensuring the operations are performed efficiently and securely. This approach also adheres to WordPress best practices. Thanks for watching. See you in the next video. Jai WordPress!